Have you ever caught yourself saying yes when every part of you was screaming no? Not because you wanted to, but because you were afraid of what would happen if you didn't. Afraid of disappointing someone. Afraid of being seen as difficult. Afraid of losing love, approval, or safety. Now here is the uncomfortable question I want you to sit with as we start. Are you actually kind, or are you just afraid? Because for a lot of people, what looks like kindness on the outside is actually fear running the show on the inside. And that fear has a name: people-pleasing. Most people think people-pleasers are just nice, sweet, selfless, easy to be around. But the psychology behind people-pleasing is way darker, way deeper, and way more painful than that. And if you've ever felt exhausted by relationships, if you've ever felt invisible even when you're surrounded by people, if you've ever thought, why does no one really see me? This video might explain more about your life than you're ready for. People-pleasing doesn't start because you're weak. It starts because you learned something very early. Love was conditional. For many people, this lesson begins in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was given when you behaved correctly, when you were quiet, helpful, successful, not a problem. You learned that being yourself wasn't enough, so you became useful instead. Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." But people-pleasers never learned self-acceptance. They learned self-adjustment. Think about it. A child who gets punished for expressing anger learns to suppress it. A child who gets ignored when they're sad learns to smile instead. A child who feels responsible for a parent's emotions learns to manage everyone else's feelings before their own. That child grows up, but the survival strategy stays. So as an adult, you become the one who replies instantly, the one who apologizes first, the one who says it's fine when it's not, the one who gives more than you receive. And on the surface, it looks like generosity, but underneath, it's anxiety. People-pleasers aren't trying to make others happy. They're trying to avoid emotional danger. There's a quote that hits hard once you really see it. People-pleasing is not about pleasing people. It's about controlling how people feel about you. Because this is the uncomfortable truth. People-pleasing is a form of control. Not malicious control. Not manipulative control. But survival control. If I keep you happy, you won't leave. If I don't upset you, you won't reject me. If I meet your needs, maybe you'll meet mine. Eventually. But eventually rarely comes. Here's a real-life example. Maybe you'll recognize it. There's the friend who always listens but never gets listened to. The coworker who takes on extra work but never gets credit. The partner who gives emotional support nonstop but feels lonely in the relationship. That person goes home at night feeling drained, resentful, and confused. Because on paper, they're doing everything right. So why does it still feel so empty? Because connection built on self-erasure isn't connection, it's performance. And performances are exhausting. One of the most painful parts of people-pleasing is the silent resentment that builds over time. You don't express your needs, you don't set boundaries. You tell yourself, it's okay, I can handle it. Until one day you can't. And then you feel guilty for feeling angry, ashamed for wanting more, confused about why you re so bitter when everyone else thinks you re so nice. But here's what no one tells you. Unexpressed needs don't disappear. They turn into resentment. And resentment is the body's way of saying, you are abandoning yourself. People-pleasers often struggle with identity too. Ask them what they want, and there's a pause. Ask them how they feel, and the answer depends on who they're talking to. Because when your whole life has been about adapting, you lose touch with who you actually are. Psychologist Donald Winnicott talked about the false self, the version of us we create to survive emotionally. For people-pleasers, the false self is polite, agreeable, helpful, and calm. But the real self, the angry one, the tired one, the needy one, gets locked away. And locked away parts don't disappear. They leak out as anxiety, depression, burnout, or sudden emotional explosions that seem to come out of nowhere. Another brutal truth. People-pleasing attracts the wrong people. Not always bad people, but people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. When you never say no, someone else never has to consider you. When you overgive, someone else undergives without consequence. And the worst part? When you finally try to change, you're often punished for it. The moment a people-pleaser sets a boundary, they're called selfish, cold, difficult. You've changed, but what they've really changed is this: they stopped betraying themselves. And that makes people uncomfortable. There is a quote by Brené Brown that cuts straight to the heart of this. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. That's the core fear, isn't it? Disappointing others. Because somewhere deep down, people-pleasers believe disappointment leads to abandonment. So let's say this clearly, slowly, and honestly. Disappointing people does not make you unlovable. But abandoning yourself does make you invisible. Healing people-pleasing isn't about becoming rude or selfish or uncaring. It's about becoming honest. Honest about your limits. Honest about your needs. Honest about your feelings, even when they're messy. And yes, at first, it feels terrifying. Your body will react like you're in danger. Your heart will race. Your mind will say, you're going to lose them. That's not intuition. That's conditioning. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're responding exactly how someone responds when they've learned that love is earned, not given. But here's the quiet, powerful truth that changes everything. The people who truly care about you don't need you to disappear in order to stay. And the ones who do? They were never loving you. They were loving the access. One small boundary can reveal a lot. One honest no can show you who respects you and who only tolerated you when you were convenient. And that clarity, painful as it is freedom. So if you're a people pleaser watching this right now, I want you to hear this like it's being said directly to you, because it is. You are not too much. You are not selfish for having needs. You are not difficult for wanting reciprocity. You don't exist to be digestible. You don't exist to be agreeable. You don't exist to make everyone comfortable at the cost of your own soul. Real connection doesn't require you to shrink. Real love doesn't demand self-betrayal. And real healing begins the moment you stop asking, how do I keep everyone happy? And start asking, what do I need to feel whole? That question changes everything. If this video made you feel seen, if it put words to something you've felt but never fully understood, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video so it reaches someone who needs it. Share it with that friend who gives too much and asks for too little. And subscribe if you want more conversations like this, real, honest, and uncomfortable in the best way. Because healing doesn't start with perfection. It starts with awareness. And if you're here, listening until the end, you've already taken the first step.